Morning YouTube. So today I've got a Honda Accord, brand new rear bumper cover and boot lid and blend on both quarter panels. So I thought I'd take you guys through the masking stage on this job. Lots of people seem to get something out of my masking videos, so why not? So today is Thursday morning. Got a few more cars to go for the week, this being one of them. My next job out there is a Mazda 2 in Sol Red. So if I get this one and that one done today, I'll be pretty happy. Maybe get a couple of putty ups done at the end of the day, because Alan is away at the moment. He's at trade school. So yeah, this car here actually had sun damaged paint on the boot lid, and we're actually redoing this from 2013. We sprayed it supposedly. Well, that's what the deal. Yeah, that's what my boss told me anyway. So that was like 6 years ago. So it's not exactly, you know, the end of the world that paint only lasts 6 years. Some of the paint from brand new doesn't even last that long. So, but back then we were using some of the cheaper clears like Duke Zone Plus MS Clear. And it's one of those things, you get what you pay for at the end of the day. That's the trade-off, you know, for a few bucks that doesn't seem to last as long. Whereas I would imagine if we were using the Stanlocks Clear, it probably wouldn't have done it. Now supposedly this same car, the roof was sprayed only 2 weeks earlier, and that's held up. I mean, it could do with a buff obviously, but it hasn't completely broken down like the boot lid did. So I gave it a quick sand down last night, the boot lid, and I just thought it's not going to hurt to throw a couple of coats of primer on it. One of those ones, you know, if you're really in a hurry and it was your own car, you probably would have just buzzed it down with 600 and sprayed base coat straight over the top of it. But yeah, as I say, for what it's worth, 3 coats of primer, not really going to break the bank, is it? It only took 20 minutes to do. I hate that. It's a bit of a chilly morning today, and I've found that like on the colder mornings, the tape doesn't want to stick as well. Like back in Melbourne, you don't have to do it here in person. Like it doesn't get quite that cold, but in Melbourne you actually can barely even mask properly in the cold weather, because as you get your hand next to the panel, it starts to condense. It's actually happening now. I can see it when I put there's little bits of condensation around it. So basically, essentially, you're trying to put tape over a wet panel from the condensation. In fact, I might just get that booth running, you know, it's not going to break the bank too. I'll flick that booth on and let that start heating up for a few minutes, and I'll mask these mouldings up while I'm waiting. Get a bit of heat in here. And these mouldings are one of those ones that I'm well aware that you can break these clips, and at the end of the day, like, my boss isn't getting paid to do this job. Well, the quarter panels and the boot lid at least. I think the owner did, like, he waited until he's actually got into an accident to bring it back, so that was kind of, I guess, nice of him, you know. At least we are getting a little bit of money, and, you know, we've got the colour mixed up at least at the same time, so yeah. But as I was about to say, like, if I can save my boss $100 worth of broken clips by masking this moulding up, then I guess I'll do it, you know. Shouldn't put the job in jeopardy of coming out bad or flaking or anything like that. I have scotched it properly, as you can see under here. I've got a little bit of an edge there too, so a little bit of a gap at the edge. Yeah, sometimes you are better off just leaving parts on the car. I know there's going to be lots of people disagree with me. Oh, you're just a hack, you're lazy, you don't want to do the job properly. But yeah, as I say, sometimes you are actually just better off leaving things on the car. Alright, so a bit of false edge masking in this jam here. So I did colour match it too. Like, I checked the colour, it was a little bit dark off the machine, but I decided not to paint that one as well because the paint hasn't actually faded yet, and yeah, the colour was good. So again, it's just going to save either buying new badges here or retaping them and trying to get them in the right spot again. So as I say, sometimes less is better. Pretty confident that it wasn't a job that I painted though, because I saw some dodgy edges here and there, and so yeah, that's not the kind of thing that I would have done. I don't leave edges like that. Although I was working here in 2013, it was actually the year I started, but I mean, I've got no way of proving either way, but I don't think I sprayed it. I've showed people this one before. Sometimes even when you mask there, you can get a little bit of overspray coming up underneath that moulding. So for the sake of one row of tape, strip of tape across there, it can save a little bit of overspray, you know. All those little 1%ers, I guess. That's something I've only really started doing in the last year or so. Always looking for ways to improve my techniques. Same thing down here, you know, it's not going to hurt to put an extra piece down there if it can stop a bit of overspray from blowing out, you know. And here I'm just trying to get that tape up underneath that rubber to stop any edge. Sometimes it doesn't always work as planned, but sometimes you do have to just go straight over the top like that. Should be fine. I'm not going to overload the clear up here anyway, so you know, if I was to absolutely slam 2 coats of HS clear right over that, sure, absolutely, you're going to get an edge. Doesn't matter how good you are if you put 2 coats. Doesn't matter how good your masking is. I mean, if you put 2 big heavy coats of HS, yeah, you're going to overload it. But again, sometimes less is better. Flip this over so that when I shut that boot it doesn't catch, you see what I mean there? It will go down without actually ripping all that masking off. Yeah, so I'm going to use some wet on wet primer on that bumper cover and the rear bumper over there, and lately I've been using a plastic additive in the wet on wet, so it makes it so that you don't actually have to put down a plastic primer, a specific 1K plastic primer like we used to. So it's like an additive that you add into your sealer, as they call it in the US. We just call it wet on wet. It's plastic additive it's called, and yeah, you just spray that wet on wet straight over your raw plastic bumpers. On this one here, like it didn't really want to sand down very well. I tried sanding it and yeah, it's like stayed shiny. So I don't usually wet sand any parts, but sometimes it's the best thing to do. So I got some scuff stuff. It's just like a Scotch-Brite paste, and yeah, used a bit of that with some water and gave it a good scuff up, just to help adhesion, I guess. it's one of those things, like I was taught when I started this trade that you don't even need to do any sanding on your bumpers, but it's one of those things that only takes a couple of minutes for a bit of peace of mind, you know. Truth is, you probably don't actually need to, but that should shut down quite nicely. That's gonna work. Been doing a bit of that lately too, just on blend panels. Just mask right on that edge rather than going right into the next one. And here I'm just doing a little blend. I'm just going to fade that out down there, that'll be fine. Don't really feel like painting the whole sill panel. You know what, that's still not it, that's not sticking. I'm gonna have to give that a prep sol. I did give it a clean down already, but I reckon the owner of this car likes to use a bit of Tire Shine. Silicon-based cleaners. Enemy of all painters worldwide. Give these jams a quick wipe down too. This is those rough edges I was mentioning before. There's no way I would have let a car go like that if I sprayed it. we can get this to not pull off as I mask it. Yeah, that's working. So I'm going to get the non-sanding, I'm going to get the plastic over this car and then get that wet on wet or non-sanding primer down over the bumper while the car is covered, and then that gives me something to do while the wet on wet is drying. Usually takes 10-15 minutes flash time. I like to use slow hardener in all the wet on wet primers I use. Seems to work better, and it is what they recommend. So especially when using that plastic converter I was telling you about, plastic additive, more important to use the slow hardener. I don't think I'll get video footage of that, it's a bit boring, wet on wet that is. Masking down there. Now that's sticking a bit better. Not too far off being edge masked. Rightio YouTube, we're going to have to end this video quickly because as I turned this camera off when I was about to put the plastic over the car, I had a look at the amount of room I've got left, and I've only got 17 minutes left, so I think we've gone far enough with the masking on this. You can see what I'm going to do, and all I'm going to do is cut this out and tape it down. So I'm going to flick this cam off now so that I've got enough room on the camera to record the base coat and clear coat stages, and I'll see you in that video. Gunman out.